Well, hey, everybody. Welcome. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday here, guys, wherever you are. And man, we have got a big crowd today, Kirky.
Big.
We do. And I really thought it would be. But anyway, thank you. Thank you for joining, taking a few minutes out, and really believe this will be worthwhile, a really big help. But just a little background on Ascendo. You all know that they came in last spring into the med supp market. And guys, this was probably the biggest med supp launch that we've ever done. It's been really, really well received. Its business has been fantastic with Ascendo and Aetna. And then here this summer, they came out with this final expense plan that I felt like a lot of our guys really didn't know about it. And so Kirk and I have been talking, God, we need to do a webinar on this thing, Kirk, and show everybody what's out there and how easy it is. So that's what we're going to do today. Kirk Sarff, #1 guy right here, guy that runs our life and annuity business here at New Horizons, is going to take us through it. Here's one little housekeeping thing that Jason just said before we started. You're going to be able to chat in or type in if you've got questions. But we have so many people on this. What we're going to do is not like take them right when they pop up. We're going to wait and do it.
We're going to make sure that everything gets followed up on that one, and
yeah.
maybe even on an individual basis sometimes. But
so throw them in there. Don't hold back. But we're not ignoring you. We see them. We're just going to get through this so Kirk does a good job and doesn't get off track.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, easy. So take it away, Kirk. You got it.
Well, we do appreciate everyone joining us, and I think we're going to go to the slides right now, Jason. And just a quick mention, CVS, you're going to see the Hard and CVS on all of their paper that's involving this final expense. Ascendo Insurance Company is a part of the CVS Health family of companies, and it's also an Aetna affiliate. So what I thought we would do, it's not moving there, Jason. Can we get to the next slide? There we go. What I thought we would do is first, as John alluded to, it really has just been rolled out since this summer. It started in June with a spattering of states, and then also we've added some here in July. So it covers, if you see the map, probably everybody that's on this webinar. They haven't applied in New York, but you'll see some of the grayer states, California and Florida of main interest, and Michigan, Pennsylvania, that they've applied for, but it haven't been approved yet. So we'll keep an eye on that for you as those approvals come along. Just want to kind of touch, there's many things to touch on, and most of you on this webinar, I know, have probably written final expense, and you may have an array of final expense carriers. What I thought I'd do is try to really point out on some of the important and unique features that this might have that we might not have with other final expense type companies. And one of the things, if you're looking at this slide, that may jump out at you would be the issue age column. They're going to go down as low as age 40, and they're going to go up as high as a maximum age of 89. So 40 to 89 is pretty significant when it represents the vast majority of our client base, obviously. The minimum death benefit, which is a little bit unique, I think, as well, is $2,000. And then the columns on the maximum death benefit, if you're writing someone all the way up to age 55, you can get a $50,000 policy. Probably our wheelhouse, you're looking at our market, would be the range of 30 to 40,000 in face amount. So that kind of raises up and gets a bit over what we are accustomed to with many of our carriers at 25,000. So just kind of a unique feature there with the issue age, and then also the maximum death benefit. I don't think it'll be on a slide, but they will go in increments of 1,000 on death benefit. So you can't get a 10,500. It's got to be in even increments of thousands. And then if you look at the far right column, the modified benefit amount, they're going to write someone modified up to age 75. So that changes a little bit, maybe with some of our other carriers of what's being offered. The COVID situation has changed some of our carriers, but you can get the modified benefit amount, 40 to 75 age range, up to a maximum death benefit of 25,000. Just some of the product highlights or features about this. Every application has to contain a requested effective date. And with Ascendo CVS, you can actually request that 90 days into the future, past the signature date. So I'm not sure that we have a ton of carriers that would offer that feature, but you can mark down an effective date 3 months in advance. They do want you to put down a draft date, initial draft date, and that's either going to be drafted on the day that the policy is issued, or if you have designated an effective date on the policy. If you don't select anything on that particular situation on the app or the e-app, paper or e-app, then the draft's going to occur on the policy effective date. So hope that's clear. If we don't select anything on initial premium, then they're going to select it for us, and it's going to be on the effective date. So obviously that's when commissions will take place, is when there is transaction. Okay, so this one's a little bit different, and this will be mentioned again as we get through the e-app, but they have a super preferred rate. And essentially, if they qualify, and you'll see our health questions coming up here in a bit, but if they qualify for what we would know as preferred or select with some of our other carriers, if they have a Aetna or Ascendo Med Sup, or if they're applying for an Ascendo or Aetna Med Sup, they may get this super preferred, which essentially is 10% off of the preferred rate. And I think that's going to become a little more clear when I get to the e-app. Hopefully that'll go smoothly when we're showing you actually the e-app presentation. So if you don't know, if they already have an Aetna or an Ascendo, so many of you on the call or on the webinar are already licensed and may have some Aetna or Ascendo already in the books. If you don't have all that information, the underwriting, when you do the e-app or the paper app, they're going to plug their social security number in. And when they identify that they do indeed have an Aetna Medicare supplement or an Ascendo Medicare supplement, then if they do qualify, they'll apply this 10% rate, preferred rate discount. Yeah. Thank you, John. That's why you're here, buddy.
I'm glad I could chip in.
Yeah, you can. You want to chip in on this one?
I might.
The comp is very strong. If you, and again, I know many of you on this, as we kind of recognized a few of you, if you have the Aetna or Ascendo Med Sup contract, you already have your commission structure. If you look for it, right. Your grid is already in there, and you're going to be very pleased with that. For those of you who are not licensed yet, there's going to be some directions at the end of this webinar, and we sure would welcome the opportunity to earn your business for sure. And the compensation is extremely strong on this product, and that's nice to have.
I'll say something on that.
Sure.
Because, there's Aetna Medicare Advantage too. So just to make sure everybody's clear, the contracting for Aetna or Ascendo, but Aetna Med Sup is completely different than the MA. It's a different
animal,
different contract.
Okay, now here's where
I could add that in, Kirk.
Yeah. Thank you, John. We're going to go to the e-app, and I don't know how many of you have used the e-app. Now, again, paper app, there's no problem with the paper app, but we're going to show you the e-app. What we have found that the people that have used this initially really like the e-app, and the add-on for this Ascendo final expense is really, I feel like it's going to be a really easy presentation and really easy sell for you. But when you get to the Aetna website, this will look familiar for some of you that have been utilizing it. You'll simply get to your logon for agents. Some of this will take a little bit of time. So we're already logged on. It may have you put in your username, password, but we are logged in right now. If you want to go and try to work with this a little bit, it's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So under my tools, you're simply going to go to the sandbox. When you click the sandbox, it takes a little bit to wind this thing up. This is where you can tell a joke if you need to, John. But, oh, sorry, we're already there. Maybe. Okay, so this is what your page is going to look like. So this is just some initial information about our client. And Jason's information is already defaulted in here. But you enter your zip code, which enters our state, and then date of birth. I'm going to go ahead and put a person that's age 65 in. And it doesn't know, if you're looking here on the screen on effective date, it doesn't know really what we're talking about yet. I might be wanting to show this person, Jason, a med sup and a final expense. So he's really looking for his Part A maybe and B are starting in October. So I'm going to go ahead and enter October as our effective date. Okay, Jason is a male. He's a non-tobacco user, and I'm good there. I don't really have to go any farther. I don't need any notes unless it would be to my benefit that I want to save in here somehow. So at that point, I'm going to hit view products, and a lot of products are going to come up on the screen. You're going to see the Aetna Med Sup. You're going to see the Ascendo Med Sup, all the Aetna family of product line. But right here, third in line, that maybe we're overlooking a little bit, is the Ascendo CVS final expense. So Jason, he's 65-year-old. So just for demonstration purposes, because I think a lot of you are going to use this in a med sup sale probably as an add-on, then I'm going to go ahead and click that I want to look at the med sup, and I'm going to go ahead and click that I'm going to look at the Ascendo CVS final expense. Okay, so the top one, as I'm making this presentation to Jason, I got to put in my Part A date. So I'm going to stick with the theme of October 1st, 2020. For this demonstration where there's no household discount at this time. And I know he's turning 65, but just for the purposes of how I'm going to go next with the Ascendo final expense, I'm going to go ahead and put underwritten. Obviously, there's open enrollment and guaranteed issue, but I know that I'm going to probably shift over to just the final expense. So at that point, I'm still on the med sup. I'm going to go ahead and quote it. And as you see up here, an A, a B, a G, I see his med sup opportunities here. Okay. I can click a G and add it to the cart, or I can click the N and add it to the cart. But for the sake of our presentation today, we're going to kind of let that one go. But it is easy to do that. I've got Jason's Medicare supplement. We decided on the plan G. Then I might just scroll down and say, Jason, you know what? You know, you had mentioned that you didn't have your final expenses covered, and I want to just show you something here. And funeral costs today can be pretty expensive, but let's just say that we're looking at a $10,000 funeral cost or final expense. Excuse me. I put in the benefit amount. Jason's a healthy guy. I've already kind of talked to him a little bit about his medications and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and click preferred. And the reason I'm going to do that, and I'm going to quote it, is all the prices are going to come up for us. So there is a preferred. The application is going to determine these rates as they do on all of our other final expense carriers. There's going to be a standard level, as we have with some of our other carriers. Then there's going to be the modified. Remember, we went and said we can write that all the way up to age 75 and a face amount all the way up to 25,000. And then here, where we're kind of coming back to the slide we had before this, the super preferred. And again, this will come into play when that person is applying for or holds an Aetna or Ascendo Medicare supplement. So if I didn't know that, or I wanted to show my client, I can simply show that. And even though when we submit this, if we get to the end of it, if we submitted the application it's going to stay with the preferred price. But when everything is done, it's going to approve it at the super preferred, which is a 10% discount for us. Okay. So I hope that's clear. I will always start with the left column so I can see them all. So Jason said on this, and again, I kind of bypassed, I didn't put it in the cart because I want to get to more of the final expense. But if I did put it in the cart, it would certainly show up. But I'm going to go ahead and put in the cart the Ascendo, the CVS final expense, and right there it is. Okay. I'm going to start the enrollment process. We're not going to get through all of it because I'm not going to get to bank information and such, but I am going to get to some other things that I think are fairly important for us, at least on this webinar setting. He is a U.S. citizen. That will allow me then to keep advancing in the e-app. Okay, so now we start the health questions. And while I won't read every single one, I have a PDF of the paper app that I'm happy to send out to everyone, because I do think it's important when you are selling the final expense, particularly if you're not doing the open enrollment type thing, that you do see the health questions on what the look backs are and things of that nature. But for sake of time, this is a very healthy person. So if any, so there's going to be three parts. There's a part A, a part B, and a part C. We have to answer no to all these questions in part A, or they're not going to be eligible for a CVS Ascendo final expense plan. So we'll kind of scroll through these. And again, I'm happy to give these out to you on a PDF. If you want to contact me, email me, we can do that. But we're going to go no to everything in part A. So for the time, I'm not going to just sit here and read to you. We're just going to keep scrolling slowly. Let you kind of see them as we go briefly. I go a little faster, but
You do it good, Kirk.
okay, so then I get down to the last one and I'm going to say no. Okay, so I know when my client answered no to everything in part A, those 8 questions, then I know I'm going to be able to advance to part B. And if we always read our headers on this plan or any of our other final expense, but if I at any time answer yes to a question in section B, it's going to move me right to the modified plan. Okay. However, if I can keep advancing with no's, excuse me, in part B, and again, all no's in part B, which were 2 questions with some sub questions, then you saw part C pop up. So now I know I'm still in business to get a level plan. Okay, so now remember, if you remember back to our pricing, we had a preferred and we had a standard level. So right out of the gate, now I'm reading my little paragraph here, short paragraph. If any question in this section, section C, is answered yes, then I'm eligible, I can be eligible for a standard level plan. If I answer no in all these sections, then I know I can be the preferred level. And we know that we can be super preferred if we have a Aetna Med Sup or a Ascendo Med Sup, which is really nice to package this thing together. So again, here's the health questions in section C. And I'm going to, for sake of time, just kind of get through these. There's 2 and with some sub questions. I can check the eligibility, but I already know what it is because we know that we've answered them all no, right? From this point on, it's going to take me through some of the mechanics, whether there's replacements, it's going to take me through, effective dates. It's going to get me through the bank information, many of those things at that point. So for time situations, you can see at the top everything that it's going to cover. And at the end, it's simply, if they've got an email, it's just clicking it off their signature, like you've done with many e-apps. So very slick, John. I don't know if you want to add anything on that, but I know we got a lot of guys. Our production with the Aetna family of Medicare supplements is phenomenal, and maybe this little simple add-on, whether it's paper or this e-app, might be beneficial to their client base.
Yeah, definitely. I think this e-app, if you get comfortable with it, it's just so nice, and it's all packaged together. Everything pops up there for you, and
can be one billing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Tom, as just because it caught my eye right here, is it true Social Security billing available? And I'll get that out to you, but I believe it is. Mm-hmm. And they want to really make a point of that, because obviously a person's bank account looks better when they get the Social Security check. So they will line that up with Social Security deposits.
Right. Beautiful.
Yep. Now, Jason, am I going to go right here? Right there. How about that? These are the health questions in case the e-app didn't work. So we were going to go through that. We have a lot of resources, and I'm telling you, these guys are organized as it gets, and they're from all their contacts that you guys are going to be made available to all their resources, from advertising to get it approved, their ad slicks, just a host of many things. But one of the things that I think is nice compared to maybe our other final expenses, their comprehensive medication list. And while not everything is listed on here, it covers a lot of them. And again, you're just seeing a part of it right now. But if no condition is noted, then it's unacceptable for any condition. So any drug that you see listed, if they don't list anything, that, like on the first one right here, they're not eligible for preferred, standard, or modified. You'll kind of get down to some of these, and I hopefully, like, this is kind of in my way, but that's all right, Jason. We're good right here. So we'll see this drug, which I'm not going to pronounce. You're probably good at all this, John.
Sledinium.
Exactly. So the conditions are noted here, and the only one that this knocks them out for with any of these conditions is the preferred. So they would still be, you could still write them for the standard, or maybe they fall in for the modified. So any mark or check mark here means that they're not going to be in that category. And again, this is about 15 pages. I looked at it before I came in here. It's about 15 pages, very comprehensive as far as you getting a really kind of qualifying your client before you get too far down the road on a medicine alone that might be in question. Okay. We're going to hit on just some of the highlights of, there's a PDF that we have that have numerous answers to many questions. So they already have this pre-made. Again, we can get that out to anybody that wants it. But one of the questions is, and of course we're in the COVID season, about delivery requirements. As of right now, a delivery receipt's not required. They're going to mail a disclosure form and the policy right to the policy owner. So I want to say that again, policy owner. Very rarely is the insured not the policy owner, but we do have them, obviously a son or daughter that might be responsible for being the payer. Maybe they want to be the owner of the policy, which is permissible. So that policy then would be mailed to, say, that son or daughter in that example. So just to note, you're not going to get the policy as an agent. Right now during this COVID situation, they're going to mail everything directly. It's not an option. They're going to mail it right to the owner, not necessarily the insured. Another one that has popped up when we've kind of reviewed this, there's a health history section. It's section 6, and a lot of agents will ask if it's optional, and it is optional, but we found that section 6 can be very important to you. It's your opportunity to talk to the underwriter. You can tell them that there's a dual purpose for a medicine. You can just give them a background that I've known Jason for several years. whatever picture I want to paint for that underwriter. And now, believe it or not, even though this is a big old company, I'm starting to build my reputation with various underwriters that Kirk always writes in the health history, the notes, even if it's just to tell me a little bit about my client Jason on this situation. But it is very valuable for the dual purpose on medications. Here's a big one. Do I need to enter any height and weight?
Yeah.
No, don't need to enter any of them.
We don't have many like that.
We don't have many like that. So that's a big one. Here's another one that stalls us on a lot of different life policies, but is a social security number required for beneficiaries? We've got more and more carriers where that's a sticking point. And if you're sitting there filling out an e-app or a paper app, a lot of grandmas and grandpas, excuse me, don't know their kids' social security numbers. So a lot of times we have to halt the app or we have to go back, not with these guys. So it's recommended because it helps at claim time, but it's not required. Okay, we didn't get to this part of it, but once I submit the application and I choose the check auto underwriting, how long does it take to obtain a decision? So I'm going to know if I'm going to get my deal typically in 90 seconds, but they would like for you to hold on for up to 5 minutes, John. So you just never know. But what I've been told, the typical is 90 seconds, a minute and a half, but just hang in there if you're not getting that instant decision there within the 5-minute time. Another very common, not only for this carrier, but a lot of our carriers, and it varies with carriers, but are credit cards or debit cards allowed for payment? And the answer is no. So neither debit or credit cards are an acceptable form of payment with CVS Ascendo's final expense. Okay, there is an app fee because everybody asks that. You're going to see it on the MedSup, but it's going to be figured in to your rate. So anything, if you're using our quote engine on our website, New Horizons website, it's going to already be figured in. When you're using the Aetna website, when we were doing the e-app and I hit the quote, this $40 app fee is already figured in. So you don't need any extra payments, any mathematicians on that. Something, and this is, there's not much time left here, but something that they're running is a $200 bonus when you write your 3 apps and they're issued and paid. Unfortunately, it ends at the end of September. You can see some of the guidelines there at the bottom, but when you write 3, you're going to get an extra $200 check from Ascendo. And John, who couldn't use an extra $200?
We all could use an extra 2.
We really could. So I'm really fired up about this. It's new to us. Mm-hmm. It's kind of, and this isn't going to mean a lot to all of you, but the old legendary basketball coach, Pete Carrill, that coached at Princeton for about 1 million years. He always said, it's not what you teach, it's what you emphasize. And I promise you, if guys start asking, would you like the death benefit?
That's it.
John, does that trigger any thoughts to you?
It does. Yeah, it does.
And yeah, if you're writing the MedSup and you, John, tell them the story.
No, I this is an old story. Maybe several of you have heard, but this is going back many years ago. I had an agent on the western half of Illinois that wrote a lot of final expense. And I said, how in the heck do you do this? He goes, you're not going to believe me if I told you. He goes, it is so simple. I said, well, what is it? He goes, I always ask one more question. So in other words, like when Kirk was going down through those health questions, like pretend that was the MedSup side, you weren't even to the final expense. What this guy would do is he would ask at the end of the underwriting part, do you want the death benefit with this? That was it. Would you like the death benefit with this? And the way this is set up, all on the same app, it's all dual billed. It's so easy just to add that in there. I think we'd all be surprised at how many people say, well, I don't know, how much is it? Well, 10,000, $52. Yeah, go ahead and add that on there. I could use an extra 10. I don't think we have to make a big deal about it. We just need to ask for it. and then they make it so simple to add it on. So I
Great
think
point.
it's pretty sweet. Yeah.
You know, the e-app might be new to some of you, and again, they take paper. The paper
Sure,
app is as
course.
basic as it is.
Yeah.
But I would encourage you, like I did, working up to this webinar, is to go to that initial login page and click Sandbox. Okay, so nothing goes to them, right? Sandbox is practice, and
Fool around.
just mess around in there.
Yeah.
You can't make any mistakes. And just in preparation for this webinar, I found it very, very helpful. And you can get any of their products, whether it's the MedSups
Yeah.
or any of the ancillary
Yeah,
products.
They
And
got a bunch.
obviously, we're emphasizing the final expense here today, but I would encourage everyone to maybe play in the sandbox.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
So, John, I'm gonna let you close this
Well,
up here.
I think you did it all. Great job, Kirk. Guys, we appreciate you all. There's been several questions along the way, so we'll address those. And if you need any help at all, you know where we're right here every day, right?
Thank you all for all
Give
your
us a shout.
business,
Yeah.
people. We really appreciate
Appreciate
you.
it.